Welcome to America's zombie apocalypse of emotional numbness. If you're a brainless, doom-scrolling zombie, go ahead and leave now while you still can. This is only for intelligent, passionate, mature people over here. Subscribe and share this video and let us go ahead and begin, shall we? Alright, so this time we have a duo of zombies from both male and female origin. So let's go ahead and go over what will be labeled for zombies 1 and 2. We're going to have, from the male side, the misogynist, and the female side, the misandrist. Isn't that interesting? Both zombies without a brain. So let's go ahead and take a look into their empty skulls and see what's going on here. Alright, so let's take a look at what a brainless misogynist male will say. All women are the same. They just want what they can get from you. He has elevated his personal rejections into universal law. One woman hurt him. Isn't that the truth? Just one woman, imagine that. And then ever since then, never the same. So half the population is guilty. That's what losers do. That's what a brainless zombie would do. A real man would say, one woman may have broke my heart. That doesn't mean all women will. I will not let my past poison my future. You see, that's what a real man would say. But the brainless zombie would just say, no, she hurt me so bad, and I'm just going to dish out hatred to all women and pretend that all women are toxic, and I'm going to get with the bros who agree with me. Yeah, all the other brainless zombies. Good job. So let's go to brainless zombie number 2. Feminism destroyed women. Now they're all worthless. Look how immature that is, really. Like just little crying zombies, really. He blames an entire movement for his inability to connect. Society owes him a woman, and he's angry it hasn't delivered. A real man would say, in contrast, I respect women as human beings, not as political statements. Movements don't define individuals, character does. Absolutely, there's plenty of beautiful women out there, inside and out, who are against feminist extremists. Nothing wrong with plain old vanilla feminism. But you can't play the victim by saying, don't be a brainless zombie by saying, it's feminism, it ruined all the women. Wow, what a little crying zombie we got there. What a flesh-eating zombie we have here that's not even thinking. Because remember, this just empty skull zombies. They have no brains. Somebody else ate their brains. Got it? Alright, so brainless zombie number 3 in this category. A woman's value drops after 30. Okay, here we go with the ageism. Lots of brainless zombies who are just nothing but obsessed with the age of everybody. It's biology. Wow. That's not biology, buddy. He speaks about women like they're used cars with, yeah, talk about objectifying women, really. With expiration dates. He doesn't realize he's telling on himself. No one who actually loves people talks this way. Absolutely. A real man would say, in contrast, people aren't cars with expiration dates. A woman's worth has nothing to do with her age and everything to do with her heart. Absolutely. But they wouldn't know that because these are heartless zombies, okay? Not only do they not have brains, but they don't have hearts either. They learn how to become these just empty vessels. That's why, hence the term zombies. Alright, so number 4 here. Modern women belong to the streets. This has gained some popularity lately with all the immature zombies out there. A phrase he repeats endlessly, usually while following Instagram models and liking thirst traps. He consumes what he claims to despise. Yeah, they're walking contradictions. A lot of them love pornography too. Or they secretly support somebody's OnlyFans. But they'll be like, no, that's all evil, that's bad. You don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. There's tons of hypocritical zombies out there, pretending to be this when they're actually the complete opposite. That's why they're so bitter. A real man would say, in this case, I don't consume what I claim to despise. If I want a quality woman, I become a quality man. Exactly. Take a look in the mirror. But it Could be already too late. They're already infected zombies out there, so there's nothing you can do. No, there's no brain, no heart. There's no living flesh anymore. They're just too far, too gone. The point of no return. All right, so the last quote here for the zombie males. You either swallow the red pill. Oh, here we go with the pills. It's the drug, the zombie. Or stay a slave your whole life. It's so extreme, I swear. He speaks in occult language because he's an occult. A cult of bitterness that profits from his loneliness and calls it enlightenment. Absolutely, men going their own way? Nope. Formerly known as men turned into zombies, running into a wall with their hands extended, their arms extended, thinking that they're actually going somewhere where they know they're not. They hit the dead end wall. That's where these brainless, heartless zombies are. With this type of language here, with all the pills, black pill, red pill, men going their own way. You're not even a real man anymore. You're a brainless, heartless zombie that hit a dead end wall because there's no progress. A real man would say in this situation, real freedom isn't bitterness disguised as enlightenment. It's vulnerability. It's hope. It's refusing to hate. Absolutely. Like, what does a real man do when he encounters a challenge, right? You have to be like water. You have to find a way around the challenge or go through the challenge by find that little opening, right? So when you find little openings and solutions, that's what a real man does. He's a problem solver, not a troublemaker. Why make a bad situation worse? But brainless, heartless zombies, they just love to complain. That's why they're like, no, it's the women's fault. Brainless, heartless zombie. Gotta blame the women. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears over to the brainless, heartless female zombies. The misandrists out there, the women who turned their wounds into weapons, unlike the men who turned their pain into poison. Pretty similar, almost the exact same thing. All right, so the first one here, the first female zombie. All men are trash, period. Okay, we hear this quite a bit, don't we? Especially from the feminist extremist zombies. She says it like it's a fact, not pain. One man or several failed her, so she condemned the entire gender to keep herself safe. A real woman would say, I've been hurt by men. I will not hurt them back by assuming the worst. Not all men are my ex-boyfriend. Precisely. That's what a real, fully grown, mature, intelligent, and passionate, strong woman would say. Not all men. But unfortunately, the zombies, they start to scream louder. They're like, no, you can't say not all. You're one of those not all guys. They can't stand it. It's just like garlic to a vampire. It really is. But in this case, zombies, they can't stand. When you show the zombies that you have a fully functioning, intelligent brain, they want to eat that brain. That's all that's on their mind. They're like, you can't think like that because that's what a real woman would think. And that's just how it goes. Hence the term zombies. All right, so zombie number 2. Men only want one thing and it's disgusting. Gee, I wonder what that is. She has reduced half of humanity to their worst impulses. She cannot see a man without seeing a predator. Yeah, anything sex related is, oh my goodness, he's a predator. He wants to do. It's like, do you not know that we were all creatures of sex, that we were all born thanks to sex? Sex is a beautiful thing in life. It's like one of the top 3 most beautiful things that we should cherish and appreciate. But not to these brainless, fearful zombies because they're so full of fear. That's all they classify sex as predatory and disgusting, and it's like, wow. It's way beyond immaturity. It's just pathetic. These aren't real women here, which keeps her safe and profoundly alone. A real woman would say, men want what women want, to be seen, loved, chosen, and valued. I will not reduce half of humanity to their worst impulses. And, it's not even what they're trying to say here, this brainless, heartless females here, these zombies. They're trying to say that all men are predatory and, yeah, they would do this to you and that to you. Wow, so, have they been prosecuted? Have they been arrested for these types of sex crimes, what is this, like a Minority Report? What is it? I think it's called Minority Report with Tom Cruise, where you can predict a crime before it happens. But it's just so amazing how, they can just assume that all men are, going to be predators, or they are predators. It's because they're hurting inside. And they're just exposing themselves as brainless, heartless zombies. That's all that's happening here. Because obviously all that is false. Okay, so let's see, zombie number 3 here from the female side. I don't need a man. Very classic. Very toxic. I need a dog and a paycheck. Yeah, and a vibrator, apparently, because you're going to be alone for the rest of your life and miserable as a Walking Dead zombie. She wears independence like armor, but armor that heavy is hard to take off, and underneath is someone who stopped believing she could be loved. Absolutely. She gave up on life. Now she's just a Walking Dead. A real woman would say, I am independent and I want love. These are not contradictions. Strength isn't a wall, it's a door. Absolutely. That's the path forward. Why make a unfortunate situation worse? Like, if you're having trouble in the love department, why you shut all your doors, all your opportunities, and just, you just clam up into your little shell, and, just like they crawl into their woman caves. It's not only the miserable male zombies out there who hide in their man caves and rot away, but it's the women too. It's the female zombies. They crawl up into their little rooms and they say, oh, sex is disgusting and I can't trust any man anymore. And they just rot away. That's it. It's over for them. Their soul leaves their body eventually. It's like, well, screw this. I'm not going to stay in this avatar. All right, so female zombie number 4, the patriarchy. Oh, you got to love this one. Is why I can't find a good man. You got to blame something. You got to play the V card, the victim card, right? You got to bust out the V card, premium platinum. She blames systems instead of examining patterns. It's easy to fight an invisible enemy than to ask why she keeps choosing the same kind of broken. Exactly. No responsibility for herself. And that's why they end up as the Walking Dead. They really are, because they don't use a brain because they don't have a brain anymore. It's just brain rot. A real woman would say, if I keep choosing broken men, I have to look at my own broken picker. Systems are easier to blame than patterns. Exactly. Accept responsibility for your own damn choices. That's the way adulthood works. But these are females who never grown up into real respectable women. They have responsibility, they have a sense of honor and passion, to get up and try again, to get it right this time. No, they just give up on life and then they become the Walking Dead. There's no more soul in that body. There's no spirit. All right, so the last Walking Dead female zombie here. Number 5, men are biologically incapable of loyalty. Oh yeah, so only women are, right? How stupid is that? She has turned her trauma into pseudoscience. Every man is guilty until proven innocent, and she's not interested in seeing proof. A real woman would say, loyalty isn't biological, it's character. I will not let the men who failed me define the men who haven't met me yet. That's just beautifully stated right there. And that's what this is all about, with these male brain-dead zombies and these female brain-dead zombies. Now, the scary part is that you and I are surrounded in this world, especially the United States, unfortunately, with countless male and female zombies out there of all types. So that's what this series is all about, identifying all of these different types of zombies, these brain dead, heart dead, just soulless Walking Dead zombies. And all they want to do is find people's brains to eat, because if they can't be happy, you can't be happy. So they're going to want to chow down on your brains. And that's the way it works. So they're going to try to influence other people to give up on their lives if they run into any issues, any problems. It makes you wonder why the operator was ever created, right? You have trouble dialing a number, you call the operator for some assistance. If you're having trouble in a classroom, you raise your hand and you ask the teacher for some assistance. If you're having trouble winning in a sport, you ask the coach to coach you better, or to help the team, the team's captain or whatever. You find a solution to your problems. You ask questions. You open your mouth before it's too late. There's no such thing as a dumb question. So, but unfortunately, these Walking Dead on both the male and female sides have given up on life itself. There's no going back. You can't breathe life into these Walking Dead zombies. It's too little, too late. And you know what? They already pressed the I give up on life button. So that's what we're exposing through this series, and it's sad to see, but it is what it is. You can't change the inevitable with those who choose to be losers, and then they turn into zombies, the Walking Dead. You can't. There's no cure for just stupidity, really. That's just how they met their fate. So once they have no soul, there's nothing you can do. They're just going to be watching themselves rot away, slowly but surely. And with that said, that's all for today's show. Get access to my free 1-hour beautiful movie by simply becoming a member on my website for free. By the way, everything's for free. Where you can also become a guest speaker on my new show, Let's Talk About Love. Don't be shy. Much love, everybody.